Hello, readers. Welcome to the Reader's Garden. I'm Mrs. Gardner. I am so excited to read and learn with you today. So let's get going.
Phonics connects sounds and symbols, unlocking code, increasingly nimble, like wings for words, it'll lift you high. With every sound you soar, you fly.
Today we're going to learn all about this letter. Do you know what letter this is? It's the letter G. And this letter is pretty important to me because it'd be pretty hard to be Mrs. Gardner if I didn't have a G. And I couldn't work in the reader's garden if there was no G. I'd be Mrs. Ardner and I'd work in the reader's Arden. So the G is very important to me. Now, is the letter G a vowel or a consonant? The letter G is a consonant. And do you know what the letter G spells? It spells G, G. To sign the letter G, take your pointer finger and put it straight out like that and your thumb straight out underneath it. So that almost as if you're showing someone that you would like a chocolate chip cookie that's about this thick. Like it's almost like you're showing a thickness sign. And that is how you sign the G, just like that. So we can sign a G and make the sound that the G makes. G, G, G. G spells G, like in the beginning of the word goat or garden. Sometimes the letter G comes in the beginning of a word, such as in the word gap, G-ap, gap, G-G-G, or in the beginning of the word gum, G-a-m, gum, G-G-G. And sometimes the G comes at the end of a word, such as in the word mug, m-a-g, mug, g-g-g. Oh, I've got a mug right here, mug. Or in the beginning of the word fog, f-a-g, fog, g-g-g. The G sound is pretty interesting, that G sound. It's bold and strong, almost like a growl from the back of your throat. To make the G sound, the back of your tongue is going to touch the soft part of the roof of your mouth, near the back of your mouth. When you release your air, it's almost like a gentle push, and your vocal cords vibrate to make that deep sound, just like in the beginning of the word go, G, go, or in the beginning of the word gum, G, gum. All right, so now it's your time to try it. Press the back of your tongue to the back of your mouth and turn your voice on and say G, G, G. You can feel the vibration in your throat as you release the sound. This is a sound that I think sometimes is easier to say as a word. So try saying go, 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 and then try saying go, but without the O part. G, G. And then that's how I really feel the sound being made. So keep trying that strong sound. All right, be a sound detective with me now. So really tune up your ears and I want you to tell me if you can hear that G sound in the beginning of these words. If you can, give me a thumbs up, and if not, a thumbs down. The first word is the word gum. Gum. Yep, I heard it. We were talking about that one before, gum. The next word is the word gust, like a gust of wind. Gust. Can you say gust? Gust. Do you hear G? Yep, I heard it. Same. And then the final word for this beginning sound is the word zip, like to zip up your sweater. Zip. Do you hear G in the beginning of zip? Nope, me neither. Let's try some more. Now tell me if you can hear the G at the end of these words. The first word is the word dig, dig, G, G. I hear dig. I hear the G at the end of dig. The next word is the word bus. Say bus, bus. Do you hear G at the end of bus? Bus. Nope, I didn't hear it. Wah, wah. And all right, the last word we'll do is the word hug, like to give someone a hug, hug. Do you hear G at the end of hug? Yep, I hear it. G. Hug. Give yourself a hug. That was a job well done. Now let's practice writing the capital or the uppercase G in the air. So get your hands all warmed up and get your skywriting finger ready. We are going to start just below that top line and then do a curve up and around, down past the middle line, down to the bottom, and go back up, stopping at the middle. Then at that middle, you do a straight line towards the very middle spot of that G and stop. All right, so it's almost like you're drawing a circle. Then you decided not to draw a circle, but you just sort of wanted to point to the middle of the circle. Does that make sense? Let's try again. So we're going to start just below that top line, curve around, down to the bottom, back up to the middle, stop, and then do a straight line towards the middle and stop. And that's the uppercase G. Now let's talk about the lowercase g. The lowercase g does not really look like the uppercase G. They're very distinct and different. And the lowercase g does that thing where it actually goes beneath the bottom line into the soil, like this. So you can see our G, our lowercase g, goes beneath that bottom line and into the soil, that like we were talking about with our lowercase p. So when we do our lowercase g, we're going to start at the middle line, do a curve around from the middle to the bottom and back up to the middle. Then from that middle, we're going to go straight down to the bottom, but don't stop there. Do a curve into the soil and say hi to that little worm. Hello. Okay, let's do it again for our lowercase g. So we're going to start just below our middle line. Do a curve around to the bottom, back up to the middle and stop. Then from the middle, do a straight line down to the bottom and curve into the soil and say hello to that little worm. And that is how you do a lowercase g.
Uppercase G and lowercase g.
Now that you've heard about our new concept, we're going to continue on with our phonemic awareness practice. We'll be blending with our friend Blenda and segmenting with our friend Siggy. So let's go meet up with them.
It's time to blend some phonemes. Blender, the blender by. Please blend each sound that I tell you, then say the word you got.
Hi readers! Welcome to Blenda's part of the garden, where we're going to work on blending phonemes to make words. Hey Blenda, are you ready to work with us? All right, you're ready? I'm ready. Are you ready? Let's do this. I'm going to tell you some sounds and you need to blend them together. The first sound is D. The next sound is Ah. D, ah. G, da, g. What is that word? Dog. Dog. Did you get that? Did you get that? The word is dog. What does a dog say? That was very silly. All right, the next one is P, I, G. Do them with me. P, I, G. Let's blend them. Pig. Pig. Blenda, did you understand pig? Yes. And you know what? I would love for us to have a pig in the reader's garden. I love pigs. They're just so cute. The next one, let's do it with blocks. First sound, G. Next sound, A. G, A. Ga, P. Gap. 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 The word is gap. Did you get gap? Blenda, did you understand gap? We got gap. And for our last one, let's do it on our fingers. The first sound is G. The next sound is A. Third sound, T. Do them with me. G, A, T. Blend. Gut. Gut. We got gut. Blenda, did you understand gut? She understood. Did you understand? You did? Great. Now let's go check in with Siggy.
Oh, hey there, Siggy, how you doing today? You're an expert segmenter and you love to play. Miss Garner, tell us a word and let's all listen close. Then we'll say each phoneme our practice really shows.
All right, readers, we're here to work on our segmenting. So we've got Siggy here. He's going to help us. And we are going to take whole words and see if we can break them into the sounds that make up the word. So the first word is the word mug. Mug. Imagine stretching that out. Mug. Mug. M-a-g. I hear 3 sounds. How many sounds did you hear? 3? Great. Let's snap them back. Mug. What were the 3 sounds in mug? M-a-g. Mug. All right, the next word is the word fog. Fog. Let's stretch it out. Fog. Fog. F-a-g. I heard 3 sounds. What were they? F-a-g. Snap them back. Fog. I heard 3 sounds in the word fog. Now let's practice with no beads on our segmenting noodle and just seeing if we can really hear and imagine those sounds. The word is got. Got. Stretch it. Got. G-a-t. G-a-t. I heard 3 sounds. What are they? G-a-t. Snap them back. Got. Siggy, are you understanding all of our segmenting? I've been so focused on segmenting, I forgot to check in. I'm sorry. Oh, you've been understanding. Oh, I'm so glad. The whole time? That's great. Let's do one more and we'll just use our noodle. The word is dug. Like I dug a hole in the garden. Dug. Stretch it. Dug. D-a-g. D-a-g. How many sounds did you hear? 3. And what are they? D-a-g. Snap them back. Dug. Now let's see if we can model them on our fingers. D-a-g. Dug. Very good segmenting. You're getting stronger and stronger with this skill. I'm really proud of you. All right, let's continue on our path. Thank you so much for your help, Siggy. Wonderful work, readers. It's time now for our visual drill practice. So let's keep heading down this path. This is the letter U. And what does the letter U spell? The letter U spells a. The letter U spells a, like in the beginning of the word umbrella. This is the letter C. And what does the letter C spell? The letter C spells k. The letter C spells k, like in the beginning of the word cat. This is the letter D. What does the letter D spell? The letter D spells D. The letter D spells D, like in the beginning of the word duck. This is the letter O. And what does the letter O spell? The letter O spells ah. The letter O spells ah, like in the beginning of the word otter. This is the letter N. And what does the letter N spell? The letter N spells N. The letter N spells N, like in the beginning of the word nest. This is the letter I. And what does the letter I spell? The letter I spells I. The letter I spells I, like in the beginning of the word inchworm. This is the letter F. And what does the letter F spell? The letter F spells F. The letter F spells F, like in the beginning of the word feather. Feather. This is the letter P. And what does the letter P spell? The letter P spells P. The letter P spells like in the beginning of the word penguin. This is the letter T. And what does the letter T spell? The letter T spells T. The letter T spells T, like in the beginning of the word turtle. This is the letter S. And what does the letter S spell? The letter S spells S. The letter S spells S, like in the beginning of the word snake. This is the letter M. M. And what does the letter M spell? The letter M spells M. The letter M spells M, like in the beginning of the word moon. This is the letter A. And what does the letter A spell? The letter A spells A. The letter A spells A, like in the beginning of the word astronaut. Now that we finished our visual drill, it's time for our auditory drill. So let's head down the path and practice our sounds. Please write the letter that makes the sound Please write the letter that makes the sound To write the letter U, you're going to start at the top line, go straight down with a vertical line, almost so you're past that middle, and now start curving back up towards the top. And that is how you write a letter U. Let's trace it in the air. Hopping to the top, we're going to go straight down, and when I'm past that middle point, I'm going to start curving. When I hit the bottom, I curve back up, and then I do a vertical line back up to the top. The letter U is kind of a roller coaster, isn't it? All right, that is how we write and trace the letter U. Please write the letter that makes the sound K. Please write the letter that makes the sound K. Let's write the letter C. We're going to start almost at the top line and do a curve from that top spot, almost at that top spot, all the way around towards the bottom and curving up just a little bit. All right, now let's trace it together in the air. Starting almost at the top, we're going to curve around, down towards the middle, towards the bottom, curving back up and stopping. So we're almost making a circle, but not quite. And that is how you write and trace the letter C. Please write the letter that makes the sound D. Please write the letter that makes the sound D. Now we're going to write the letter D. To write the letter D, do a vertical line from the top down to the bottom. Then hop back up to the top and do a curve all the way around across that middle point and back down to the bottom. It's like one giant belly. And that is how you write the letter D. Let's trace it together in the air. We're going to hop to the top, do a vertical line down to the bottom, hop back up to the top, curve around, and back, meeting up with that bottom spot. And that is how we write and trace the letter D. Please write the letter that makes the sound ah. Please write the letter that makes the sound ah. This is how we write the letter O. Starting at the top, you're going to do a curve all the way around, cross that middle point down to the bottom, and do the same curve all the way back up towards the top, making a beautiful almost circle. When I say almost, I mean that it's not a perfect circle, but the line does connect all the way around. And so to trace that, we start at the top, curve down and around to the bottom, back up, and meeting up with it at the top. That is how we make our letter O. Please write the letter that makes the sound N. Please write the letter that makes the sound N. This is how you write the letter N. You're going to start at the top, do a vertical line down to the bottom. Hop back up to the top and do a slanted line from the top down to the bottom. When you're at the bottom, do a vertical line back up to the top. That's how you make the letter N. Let's trace it. Hopping to the top, we'll do a straight line down to the bottom. Hop back up to the top, do a slanted line down to the bottom. And from the bottom, do a vertical line back up to the top. That's how you write and draw the letter N. Please write the letter that makes the sound I. Please write the letter that makes the sound I. To write the letter I, you're going to start at the top line and do a vertical line straight down to the bottom. Then you hop back up to the top and you'll do a horizontal line across the top. Hop to the bottom and do a little horizontal line across the bottom. Let's trace it together in the air. Hop to the top, do a straight line down to the bottom. Hop back up to the top, do a horizontal line across. Hop to the bottom, do a horizontal line across the bottom. And that's our letter I. Great job. Please write the letter that makes the sound F. Please write the letter that makes the sound F. To make the letter F, you're going to do a vertical line from the top down to the bottom. Then you hop back up to the top, do a horizontal line across, meeting up with that first line. Then you hop to the middle and do a horizontal line, meeting up with that first line. Let's do it together in the air. So you do a horizontal, you start at the top, do a vertical line down to the bottom, hop back up to the top, do a horizontal line across, meeting up with that first line, hop to the middle, do a horizontal line across, meeting up with that first line. And that is how you write and trace the letter F. Please write the letter that makes the sound P. Please write the letter that makes the sound P. Here's how you write the letter P. You start at the top and do a line down to the bottom. Then you hop back up to the top and you do a curved line around and meet up in the middle with that first line. Let's do it together in the air. Starting at the top, we're going to do a horizontal line down to the bottom. Hopping back up to the top, we're going to curve around, meeting up with that first line in the middle. And that's how we write and trace the letter P. Please write the letter that makes the sound T. Please write the letter that makes the sound T. To write the letter T, you're going to hop to that top line and do a vertical line straight down to the bottom. Once you've done that, hop back up to that top line and you're going to do a horizontal line across the top of that top line. Let's do it together in the air. Hop to our top, go a straight line down to the bottom. Now hop back up to the top and do a horizontal line across the top of that first line. And that is how we write and trace the letter T. Write the letter that makes the sound S. Write the letter that makes the sound S. This is how you write the letter S. Starting almost at the top, you're going to do a curve around and down to the middle. Then you're going to do a curve the opposite direction, down to the bottom, and scooping up just a little bit when you're at the bottom. Let's trace this one in the air together. This is a really fun letter. To do the letter S, we're going to start almost at the top, curve all the way around towards the middle. Then going the opposite direction, we're going to curve towards the bottom and curve just slightly back up. And that is how you write and trace the letter S. Fantastic job on our visual and our auditory drill. It's time now for us to take all our sounds and blend them together for our blending drill. So let's continue down our path. I'm noticing with our blending board setup today, we have 3 groups of 4. We have 4, 4, and 4, or we could say 4, 8, and 12. We're working with 12 letters. So let's figure out what sounds we have in the spots. In our initial spot, we have K, D, P, and S. In our medial spot, we have A, I, A, and we've added or the U, the letter U, which makes And then in our final spot, we have D, M, N, and P. So let's see what words we can make here. I'm going to start by putting our U up there, and we can start with That's how we make the word which is a very helpful word. If I take off the M and put an N here, I get un. And we see in the front of lots of words. So if I talk about doing something and then undoing it, that's where you'd see that un. Now let's scoot these down just a spot and let's add S for sun, sun. Taking off the N and putting a D up there, I get sud. So you hear people talking about soap suds. I guess if you just have a singular sud, you'd have a sud. Okay, taking off the S and putting a D there, we get dud, dud. Now, how do I change dud? Ooh, I forgot a letter. Ooh, I forgot to put we need an M in that spot too. Oh, excuse me, I'll go get an M. There we go, there's our letter M. I just forgot to put it up there. I want to change dud to mud, and I need an M to do that. So I'll put my M up there and I get mud. Now if I take off my U and add an O, I get mod, mod. What happens to change mod to cod? Mod to cod. We take off our M and put a C in its place and we get odd, cod. Now if I wanted to change cod to con, I hear that N sound, the N, k, on, con. And if I take off my O and put an A, I get can. Now taking off my C and putting a P in the beginning, I find myself with pan, and I would like to change pan to pin. So I'll take off my A and put an I, and I get pin. Now I'm going to take off my I and put a U, and I find myself with pun. I like a lot of puns. They're a type of joke that just tickles my funny bone. So then pun can become pup if we put a P at the end, pup. And I'd like to change pup to cup. So we'll put a C there, k, up. And if we just take off the C, we end up with up. And we ended up with up, which seems like a good place for us to stop here. All right, my friends, let's put our letters back whence they came, and we're all set for the next time we use our blending board. We're now entering the second part of our lesson. If you're going to do just part 1, this is where you'll pause. But if you're doing part 1 and part 2 today, then keep going with me and we'll review that new concept we talked about at the beginning of our lesson. Let's go. Today we're going to learn all about this letter. Do you know what letter this is? It's the letter G. And this letter is pretty important to me because it'd be pretty hard to be Mrs. Gardner if I didn't have a G. And I couldn't work in the reader's garden if there was no G. I'd be Mrs. Ardner and I'd work in the reader's Arden. So the G is very important to me. Now, is the letter G a vowel or a consonant? The letter G is a consonant. And do you know what the letter G spells? It spells G, G. To sign the letter G, take your pointer finger and put it straight out like that and your thumb straight out underneath it. So that almost as if you're showing someone that you would like a chocolate chip cookie that's about this thick. Like it's almost like you're showing a thickness sign. And that is how you sign the G, just like that. So we can sign a G and make the sound that the G makes. G, G, G. G spells G, like in the beginning of the word goat or garden. Sometimes the letter G comes in the beginning of a word, such as in the word gap, G-ap, gap, G-G-G, or in the beginning of the word gum, G-a-m, gum, G-G-G. And sometimes the G comes at the end of a word, such as in the word mug, m-a-g, mug, G-G-G. Oh, I've got a mug right here, mug. Or in the beginning of the word fog, f-a-g, fog, G-G-G. The G sound is pretty interesting, that G sound. It's bold and strong, almost like a growl from the back of your throat. To make the G sound, the back of your tongue is going to touch the soft part of the roof of your mouth, near the back of your mouth. When you release your air, it's almost like a gentle push, and your vocal cords vibrate to make that deep sound, just like in the beginning of the word go, G, go, or in the beginning of the word gum, G, gum. All right, so now it's your time to try it. Press the back of your tongue to the back of your mouth and turn your voice on and say G, G, G. You can feel the vibration in your throat as you release the sound. This is a sound that I think sometimes is easier to say as a word. So try saying go, go, go. And then try saying go, but without the O part. G, g. And then that's how I really feel the sound being made. So keep trying that strong sound. All right, be a sound detective with me now. So really tune up your ears, and I want you to tell me if you can hear that G sound in the beginning of these words. If you can, give me a thumbs up, and if not, a thumbs down. The first word is the word gum. Gum. Yep, I heard it. We were talking about that one before. Gum. The next word is the word gust, like a gust of wind. Gust. Can you say gust? Gust. Do you hear g? Yep, I heard it. Same. And then the final word for this beginning sound is the word zip, like to zip up your sweater. Zip. Do you hear g in the beginning of zip? Nope, me neither. Let's try some more. Now tell me if you can hear the g at the end of these words. The first word is the word dig. Dig. G. I hear dig. I hear the g at the end of dig. The next word is the word bus. Say bus. Bus. Do you hear g at the end of bus? Bus. Nope, I didn't hear it. Wah, wah. And all right, the last word we'll do is the word hug, like to give someone a hug. Hug. Do you hear g at the end of hug? Yep, I hear it. G. Hug. Give yourself a hug. That was a job well done. Now let's practice writing the capital or the uppercase G in the air. So get your hands all warmed up and get your skywriting finger ready. We are going to start just below that top line and then do a curve up and around, down past the middle line, down to the bottom, and go back up, stopping at the middle. Then at that middle, you do a straight line towards the very middle spot of that G and stop. All right, so it's almost like you're drawing a circle. Then you decided not to draw a circle, but you just sort of wanted to point to the middle of the circle. Does that make sense? Let's try again. So we're going to start just below that top line, curve around, down to the bottom, back up to the middle, stop, and then do a straight line towards the middle and stop. And that's the uppercase G. Now let's talk about the lowercase g. The lowercase g does not really look like the uppercase G. They're very distinct and different. And the lowercase g does that thing where it actually goes beneath the bottom line into the soil, like this. So you can see our G, our lowercase g, goes beneath that bottom line and into the soil, that like we were talking about with our lowercase p. So when we do our lowercase g, we're going to start at the middle line, do a curve around from the middle to the bottom and back up to the middle. Then from that middle, we're going to go straight down to the bottom, but don't stop there. Do a curve into the soil and say hi to that little worm. Hello. Okay, let's do it again for our lowercase g. So we're going to start just below our middle line. Do a curve around to the bottom, back up to the middle and stop. Then from the middle, do a straight line down to the bottom and curve into the soil and say hello to that little worm. And that is how you do a lowercase g.
Uppercase G and lowercase g.
We've now reached the part of our lesson where we do our word work. So if you have a word work board that looks like that on my sign, you should pause here and get out your materials. If you're going to follow along with me and my word work board, then let's keep going together on this path. Let's go do some word work. All right, word workers, I'm all set with my word work mat. And if you need to go get yours, pause the video and go get your mat all set up. And make sure we have our G added since we are talking about the G phoneme today. And if you're following along with me, then we're all set to go and let's get started. So let's start out with the word g, ought, got. We'll bring the G up, the O up, and the T, and we end up with g, ought, got. Now I'm going to take off my O and put a U in the medial spot, and I get gut, gut. Sometimes you call your internal organs your guts. So what happens if I take off my G, put it back where it goes, and we bring up the C, cut, cut. How do I change cut to nut? Cut to nut. I'll take off my C and bring an N up, and I get nut, nut. Now I would like to change nut to not, not. So I'll take off my U and bring an O, and I get not, not. Please help me change not to dot, dot. So we'll take off that N and bring a D up, and now we have dot, dot. Now if I take off my T and bring up my G, I get dog, dog, and you know I love a dog. Taking off your O and adding an I, we get dig, dig. How would you change dig to pig? Dig, pig. Oh, I'll take off my D, bring it down, and put my P up there, and I have pig, pig. Now, how would I change pig to pug? We're just going animal to animal here. We'll take off our I and bring a U up, and we get pug, pug. Now, please take off that P and bring it down. I'm finding I'm needing to double check where they go, and we'll bring up a D. We'll get Doug, Doug. Take off your D and bring up a T, and we will get tug, tug. And then finally, let's finish up by changing tug to mug, tug to mug. We'll take off our T and put an M, and we get mug, mug. Now let's bring our letters back down to our working mat so that they're all ready for the next time we're doing our word work. Great job on your word work for 16 today. It's time now for us to head over to our irregular word practice. So let's head down this path and keep going. So this is the word the. What word is this? The word the. Can you say it? The. Now let's use the in a sentence. For example, I saw the dog in the park. Now you try using the in a sentence, and if you need to, you can pause the video. All right, let's figure out how many sounds are in the word the. We're going to finger tap those sounds to mark the sounds we hear. The first sound is th. The next sound is Put them together, the. What's the first sound? Th. And the next sound? The. So I hear two sounds in the word the. Now let's look at why this word is a word that we need to know by heart. So the first part of the word is the T and the H together. Now, since we haven't learned the rule about digraphs yet, it doesn't really make sense why we're pronouncing this as th. And that's why this part of the word is temporarily irregular, and it's a part we need to know by heart. We need to know that the T and the H, when they're together, make th. Now, let's look at the vowel in the word. We see the vowel E, but it's being pronounced as as if it were a short U, which is very strange. And that's a part we always need to know by heart because that's what makes this word irregular. We are pronouncing an E as and we definitely need to know that part by heart. So you can see we have a for now symbol, which is the blue square with the heart in it. And then we also have a permanently irregular symbol, which is the heart. And that's the part we'll always need to know by heart because there's not really a rule for that. Now let's practice spelling the word the. We're going to do that on our arm. So I'd like you to extend your arm out. We're going to tap each of the letters in the word and then blend them together. Here we go. T, H, E, the. Make sure you do it with me if you didn't already. T, H, E, the. And that is the word the. Today we're going to learn the word I. Say it with me. I. Now let's use I in a sentence. For example, I love to read books. Now, can you try using it in a sentence? Pause if you need to. Now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word I. I have a feeling this is going to be pretty quick for us to figure out. All right, let's finger tap those sounds. The first sound that we hear in the word I is I. And there's only one sound. That's right. This is a word that's made with one letter and it has one sound. So why is this an irregular word? Well, we haven't learned about the long I sound yet. So for us, it's not following that typical short letter sound pattern. But when we know that the letter I can make a long I sound, or I, and not just then that means we'll fully understand why this word sounds the way it does. All right, now let's spell this word on our arm. I think this is also going to be a pretty quick one. Ready? I. Can you do this one with me? I. And that is the word I. Today we're talking about the word and. Say it with me. And. Now let's use the word and in a sentence. For example, I have a cat and a dog. Now you try using the word and in a sentence. Remember, you can pause if you need to. Okay, now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word and. We're going to finger tap those sounds. What's the first sound we hear? Eh. And what's the next sound we hear? N. And the last sound? D. Eh. N. D. Put them together. And. There are 3 sounds in the word and. Now let's look at what makes this word irregular. So the A sound is making a sound we're not used to hearing. It's making an eh. And that is the nasalized A. Now we haven't learned the rule yet about nasalized A, or maybe we have and we're reviewing it at this point. But if we haven't learned the rule, that's what makes this word temporarily irregular. So when you have a short A and an N, it sounds like it's coming through your nose, which is why when we say the word and, you actually feel a little bit of a buzzing in your nose. Say the word and. I feel my nose buzzing. And that is why this word is temporarily irregular. Also, the N and the D are making expected sounds, N and D. And so that's why they have the blue squares underneath them, because they are doing what we would expect them to do. All right, let's spell this word on our arm. Stick your arm out, please. And let's spell A-N-D, and. Let's do it again. A-N-D, and. And that is the word and. Let's use the word a in a sentence. For example, I see a cat. Now, the word a can also be pronounced a. And if we were using it in that way, we would say, I see a cat. And that's also correct. So let's figure out how many sounds are in the word a. We're going to finger tap the sounds. Again, I think this is probably going to be kind of a quick finger tap. Ready? What's the first sound we hear in A? A. And how many sounds are there? 1. Let's do it together. A. And how many sounds are there? There's the 1 sound. So we hear the long A sound in the word A, but we also hear the schwa sound depending on how someone says it. That schwa sound is when someone says the word A as a. So I see a cat or I see a cat. Both of those pronunciations are correct, but we haven't learned the rules yet about the long A or about the schwa sound. So that's why this word is irregular to us. Now let's do some arm tapping and spell this word. Let's practice spelling the word A. Again, probably going to be pretty quick. All right, put your arm out, write that first word or the first letter, A, and blend it, A. Let's do it again, but this time let's say it as the schwa sound. Ready? A. How do we pronounce it? And that is the word A, or The word is. Say it with me, is. Now let's use the word is in a sentence. For example, the dog is happy. Now can you try using is in a sentence? All right, let's segment that word into its sounds. So let's get out our hand tapping fingers and figure out how many sounds are in the word is. We're going to finger tap the sounds. What's the first sound? I. What's the second sound? Z. Put them together, is. Do it with me. First sound, I. Next sound, Z. Put them together, is. Now let's look at why this word is irregular and why it has parts we need to know by heart. So let's look at that last sound in is. We hear the sound Z, but it's spelled with the letter S. We haven't learned this spelling rule yet. So this part of the word is temporarily irregular, or a by heart part, because we haven't learned the rule yet. Eventually, or perhaps already at this point, you've learned that rule, and so you know why this word is pronounced is. And that's why we have that temporary heart under the letter S. Now let's spell the word on our arms. Stick your arm out, and here we go. I-S, is. Let's do it again. Make sure if you didn't do it with me the first time, you do it with me now. I-S, is. And that is the word is. The word is as. Say it with me. As. Now let's use as in a sentence. For example, she ran as fast as she could. Now you try using as in a sentence, and remember, you can pause if you need to. Now let's figure out how many sounds are in the word as. Let's get our finger tapping hands ready so we can tap out the sounds. The first sound is a, and the next sound is z. Put them together, as. All right, let's do it again. One more time. A, z, as. There are two sounds in the word as. Now let's figure out what makes this word a heart word. If we look at that second letter, the S, we hear the Z sound, but it's spelled with S. Now, we might not have learned the rule yet about how sometimes the letter S can make a Z sound and not just a S sound. So that's why this word is in the temporarily irregular category, and it has that blue square with the heart inside it. So that's the part we need to learn by heart. That's why we pronounce the word as with the Z at the end. Now let's practice spelling it on our arm. Stick your arm out, please. A-S, as. Let's do it again. A-S, as. And that is the word as. Here is our new irregular word. It's the word said. Say it with me. Said. All right, now let's use said in a sentence. For example, she said hello to her friend. Now you try using said in a sentence. Let's figure out how many sounds we hear in the word said. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, s. Next sound, eh. Last sound, d. Said. Said. Let's do it again. S, e, d. Said. There are 3 sounds in the word said. Now let's focus on what are the parts of the word that make this parts we need to know by heart. Now, if we look in the middle of the word, we see an A and an I, but we hear the sound eh, eh. Now, this is unexpected because those two letters together as a vowel team are not making the sound we'd expect. Often, if we see A and I together as a team, which is a rule we'll learn later, they make the sound A. But not today. In the word said, they're making the sound eh, as if it were a short E. And because of that unexpected part of this word, we need to learn it by heart. Now, the nice thing in this word is that it's sort of sandwiched between two regular sounds because we have the S making a sound we expect, S, and the D making a sound we expect, D. And that's why we need to know that little middle bit by heart because this is a word we see all the time. So the word is said. Now let's practice spelling said on our arm. Stick your arm out and we will tap out the letters. S-A-I-D. Said. Let's do it again. S-A-I-D. Said. And that is the word said. The word is to. Can you say it with me? To. Let's use to in a sentence. For example, I go to school. Now, you try using it in a sentence. Okay, so let's figure out how many sounds are in the word to. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, t. The next sound, ooh. Together, two. Let's do it again. T, ooh, two. Now let's focus on why this word is irregular. Please look at the vowel sound, or the O. When we hear the sound in the word, we're hearing ooh, but it's spelled with the letter O. This is the heart part of the word because it doesn't follow the rules we've learned so far. And that's why we need to know this word by heart. The other thing that's interesting about to is there's more than one version of the word to. For example, if we're counting and we say 1, 2, 3, this is different than the number 2. So when you see T-O, we're not talking about the number 2. Now let's practice spelling this on our arms. Please stick your arm out and let's arm tap. T-O, 2. Let's do it again together. T-O, 2. And that is the word to. This is the word do, and we're going to learn why the word do is a word we need to learn by heart. Can you say the word do? Do. Now let's use do in a sentence. For example, I do my homework. Now you try using do in a sentence. So let's figure out how many sounds are in the word do. We're going to finger tap those sounds. The first sound, d. The next sound, oo. Do. Let's do it again. D, oo, do. There are 2 sounds in the word do. Now let's focus on the by heart parts. When we see the word do, we see the D is doing what we'd expect it to do. It's making the sound D, but the O is making the oo sound. And we do not expect that with our letter O when it's all by itself like that. And so that's why that's the part of this word that we need to learn by heart. This word is do. And the heart is to help us remember that it's the by heart part. Let's tap this word on our arms. D-O, do. Do it again. D-O, do. And that is the word do. Wow, readers, we are nearly at the end of our lesson today. Our last practice is our connected text, which is my favorite part of all of our lessons. Now we are going to take all the concepts we've been working on and we're going to put them together as readers and as writers. So let's go and finish up our practice together. All right, I've got my reading page all set up. Remember, these can be downloaded in the link below if you'd like to follow along with your own page. If not, you're welcome to follow along with me right here on my page. So let's go ahead and cover up the text except for that first sentence so that we are focused on just the one thing. And let's count how many words we're going to be reading. 1, 2, 3 words. And what letter are we focused on today? We are focused on the letter G and the phoneme G, G. So let's see. Oh, there's a G in every single one of those words. I see a G here. I'm going to do a little arrow, a G here, and a G here. That's pretty neat. All 3 words have G, and I see it ends in a period. So let's read. G-us. Gus. Oh, that's somebody's name. I know someone named Gus. Gus got gum. Gus got gum. Do you like chewing gum? I love chewing gum. I actually really like blowing bubbles with gum, but I know it's not the most polite behavior. So I try to be careful about not doing that too much, but I really like gum. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. I see a period is ending the sentence, so it's a statement, not a question or an exclamation. And then do we see the letter G? Not there, not there. Yep, I see it right here. And I see it at the end of this word. So we have 2 G's in this sentence. Here we go. Mom, we know that word. We see that kind of a lot. Mom can get. Mom can get a dog. Mom can get a dog. Oh, I love dogs. I am such a dog person. I love dogs. I love puppies. I love dogs. Okay, let's go on to this next one and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. And let's look for some G's. Nope, but I do see a G there. I see a G there, and I see a G there. And our end mark is another period. So we are saying this one as a statement. Here we go. A pig and dog dug. A pig and dog dug. Instantly, in my mind, there's an image of like a farm field with like a fence around it. And I imagine a pig and dog who are buddies and they're just digging in the mud and having a really great day. All right, let's read everything so far and see if we can smooth it out. Gus got gum. Mom can get a dog. Yay, Mom. A pig and dog dug. Beautiful reading. And now it's time for us to write. I am ready to write, and make sure you are ready too. Have something to write on, a piece of paper, a whiteboard, whatever is convenient, and something to write with. As you know, I like to use highlighters and pens. You're welcome to use a pencil or whatever is convenient to you. So please, let's get ready to write our first sentence. I got a mug. I got a mug. 4 words. Let's make space for them to write. I got a mug. I probably left way too much space to write A, but that's okay. I got a mug. Pause and write and come back and check. All right. I, capital I, G. Remember that G is going to go down below the bottom line. I got a mug. Period. I got a mug. I am a mug person. I love collecting mugs just because I really like drinking coffee, and so I like to have fun mugs to drink from. I got a mug. Next sentence. The mud is fun. The mud is fun. Let's make space. The mud is fun. Period. Please pause and write the mud is fun. Then come back and check. All right, we'll do a capital T because we're starting the sentence with the word the. So we start with a capital. The The mud is fun. The mud is fun. And then our last sentence is Gus dug in the mud. Gus dug in the mud. So let's make space for that. Gus dug in the mud, period. And then go pause and write Gus dug in the mud. Now let's check it together. Capital G, I like capital G's. Gus dug in the, go to the next line, mud. Period. Now let's read all of it together in one big reading swoop. I got a mug. The mud is fun. Gus dug in the mud. Excellent, excellent writing and reading. You are doing such a fantastic job on your journey as a reader. You are blooming every day. All right, I'll see you at the next lesson. Congratulations! We made it to the end of today's lesson. You are working so hard as a reader and as a writer, and I am so proud of you. But more importantly, I hope that you are proud of you. You are doing such a wonderful job in the Reader's Garden. I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Phonics Connect.